Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive with us.
Yes.
And today we're diving into
Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman. Oh, such
Yes.
fascinating and prolific and creative author.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm so excited to dive in and just kind of like see what we can uncover about him and his career and his life.
Yeah. And it's so fascinating too because he's done so many different things.
Right.
Right? Like he's written novels.
Yeah.
He's written for comic books.
Yes.
He's done screenplays.
Yeah.
He's even done audio theater.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
He really is all over the place. And it's just so fascinating. Let's dive in.
Let's dive into the world of Neil Gaiman.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at his early life, and one of the first things that jumped out at me was he learned to read at age 4.
Wow.
I mean, that's
early.
so early.
I mean, I was still
eating paste at age 4.
Exactly. And it really does make you think about the significance of that early exposure to literature.
Yeah.
Because clearly it had a profound impact on him.
Yeah, and I mean, he was reading like Lord of the Rings. The Chronicles of Narnia, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. He memorized Alice in Wonderland.
That's incredible.
By heart. That is dedication.
It really is.
And he was clever.
Oh.
How libraries, you can only check out so many books?
Right.
He wanted to get all 3 volumes of The Lord of the Rings, but they wouldn't let him.
Oh.
So he figured out a system of how to
That's clever.
Yeah. To get all 3 at the same time.
That's amazing. So he was clearly destined for great things from the beginning.
It's like he had this innate drive to immerse himself in these worlds.
Yeah.
And makes me think about your own early reading experiences.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember any particular books or authors?
Yeah, totally.
That really had a profound impact on you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, those early books really do shape us.
They really do.
Okay, so speaking of things that shape us.
Yes.
Let's talk about Gaiman's parents and Scientology.
Yes. This is an interesting...
On a bit of a tricky area here.
A little bit of a tricky area.
But it is, part of his background.
It is part of his background, and I think it's important to just address it head on.
Right.
But, also with sensitivity.
Absolutely.
Because it's, a bit of a complex situation.
So his parents were involved in Scientology.
Yeah, and one of his sisters actually works for the Church of Scientology.
That's right.
The other sister clarifies that it was more like their family's religion.
Right, so there's different perspectives within the family.
Yes, exactly. And Neil Gaiman himself is not a Scientologist. So I think it's important to make that distinction.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crucial to separate his own beliefs and his own path from that of his family.
So it's interesting to think about how that upbringing might have influenced his work.
Right, especially given that he was actually withdrawn from school.
Yeah, at age 7.
At age 7.
Because of his father's position in Scientology.
Wow.
That's
a pretty significant event. Especially at such a young age to be kind of uprooted from that traditional educational setting.
It makes you wonder how that experience shaped his view of the world.
It really does.
The themes of isolation and questioning authority and seeking different perspectives.
Yes.
Those definitely come up in a lot of his work.
They do.
So maybe there's a connection there.
Possibly.
Okay, so let's move on now to his career trajectory.
Okay.
And it's not as straightforward as you might think.
Oh.
He didn't just jump right into writing fantasy novels.
Interesting.
He actually took a bit of a detour into journalism.
Oh, wow.
Which is fascinating because he saw it as a way to learn to network.
Okay.
To kind of understand how the world works.
So it's almost like he was using journalism as this training ground for his future writing career.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like he was absorbing information, observing people, honing his craft.
I like that.
And remember that Duran Duran biography we mentioned?
Oh, yes.
That was his first book.
Oh, wow.
And get this.
What?
He lost the rights to it because the publisher went bankrupt, which is both unfortunate and kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
You can almost imagine that happening.
Very Gaiman-esque.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he even used pseudonyms early in his career.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they?
Jerry Musgrave, Richard Gray, and a couple of house names.
House names.
Which were basically names that the publisher would use.
Okay.
for multiple authors.
Interesting.
So yeah, he was all over the place.
It was experiments.
After trying different things.
Different names, different genres.
Exactly. Okay. So now picture this young Neil Gaiman waiting for a train in London.
Okay.
He picks up a copy of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing.
Oh, wow.
And boom.
His world changes.
His world changes.
That's a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Like a lightning strike.
It was like a lightning strike.
Yeah.
And he becomes obsessed with comics.
Wow.
He starts hanging out at the Forbidden Planet comic shop.
Oh, cool.
He's just immersing himself in that world.
That's awesome.
And soon enough, he's writing comics himself.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he's being mentored by Alan Moore.
Oh, wow.
Talk about an incredible apprenticeship.
That is amazing.
Right.
So all those journalistic skills that he honed, they were now being applied to this new world of comics.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then comes the Sandman. DC Comics approached him and said, hey, we want to revamp this old obscure character. Can you take a crack at it?
Wow.
And little did they know,
what?
Neil Gaiman was about to unleash a phenomenon.
That's amazing.
Because the Sandman wasn't just your typical superhero comic.
Right.
It was this blend of mythology and fantasy and horror and literary element.
It really pushed the boundaries.
It totally pushed the boundaries of what a comic could be, and it was a massive success. It attracted a whole new audience to comics.
That's incredible.
It even outsold Batman and Superman at times. I mean,
that's huge.
That's saying something.
Yeah.
And he introduced all these amazing characters like Death.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who became a fan favorite.
Wow.
And even got her own spin-off series.
That's awesome.
And it's so interesting because, you know, in Gaiman's hands, Death wasn't this grim, forbidding figure.
Right.
She was witty.
Okay.
She was compassionate.
Interesting.
Almost relatable.
That's cool.
You know? And he does that with a lot of his work.
Yeah.
He takes these universal, often feared concepts.
Okay.
Like death.
Yeah.
And he infuses them with humanity, with humor. And it's just so compelling.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what is it about his approach to these themes that resonates so deeply with readers?
Yeah.
Is it the way he blends darkness and light?
Yeah.
Or the fantastical and the real?
Yeah.
Or maybe his ability to make us confront our own mortality in a way that's both unsettling and strangely comforting?
Those are some great questions.
They are, aren't they?
And we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much more to explore.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
So stay with us.
Yes.
As we dive even deeper into the fascinating world of Neil Gaiman.
Absolutely. So we left off talking about the Sandman.
Yeah. The Sandman was huge.
Yeah. And it really did launch his career, you know, into the stratosphere.
Right.
But he's not a one-trick pony.
Right. Exactly.
He's not content to just stay in one lane.
No, he branches out.
He does.
He goes over to Marvel.
He does.
Works on Marvel 1602 and The Eternals.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I mean,
it really shows his range.
Yes.
As a writer.
Like, what do you think drives that creative restlessness?
I think it's a couple things.
Okay.
One, he's just incredibly versatile.
Right.
He can adapt his voice, his style,
right,
to different worlds.
Yeah.
And two, he's just genuinely curious.
Yeah.
He wants to push boundaries.
Yeah.
He wants to experiment.
And speaking of pushing boundaries.
Oh, yes.
And collaborations.
Oh, yes.
We got to talk about Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett, yes.
And Good Omens.
Oh, Good Omens.
I mean, what a
masterpiece.
Like, masterpiece, right.
Yeah, that hilarious apocalyptic buddy comedy.
Yeah, it's like they took the end of the world and said,
let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun with this.
Exactly. And it's interesting because Pratchett actually admitted that he did more of the heavy lifting on that one.
Really?
Yeah, because Gaiman was still so busy with the Sandman at the time.
Oh, wow.
So it makes you wonder what other amazing stories they might have created if they had more time to work together.
Man, that's such a...
Yeah.
Like a tantalizing thought.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, so let's dive into some of Gaiman's solo novels.
Yeah.
Starting with
Neverwhere.
Neverwhere. Okay.
Which was actually based on his own BBC miniseries. I know, right?
Interesting.
And it's this dark urban fantasy.
Urban fantasy.
Set in this hidden London.
Oh, wow.
Beneath the streets.
Okay.
And he actually revised it.
Revised it twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
to make it more accessible to an American audience who might not be familiar with the London Underground.
Right.
And then again.
And then again.
Because he just wasn't satisfied.
Wow.
With the original. It's dedication.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what stands out to you about Neverwhere?
You know, I think Neverwhere, in a way, foreshadows his later success in blending mythology and modern settings.
Oh, totally.
Like, he does so brilliantly in American Gods.
Oh, American Gods.
Yes.
Such a masterpiece. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Right.
Yes.
Ancient deities battling modern gods, technology and media.
It's so mind-bending.
So mind-bending.
And thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it earned him a ton of awards.
Oh, yeah.
The Hugo.
The Nebula, the Bram Stoker.
It's
amazing.
It really is.
And he even expanded on
it. Yeah. How so?
With a special edition.
Okay.
Short stories.
Oh, wow.
And a spin-off novel called Anansi Boys.
Anansi Boys. Oh, that's a great one.
I know, right?
It debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
Yeah, it's this wild, vibrant journey through African mythology.
Yeah, with the trickster god Anansi and his sons at the center.
It's so imaginative.
Okay, let's talk about his
it.
children's literature, which, let's be honest, captivates adults just as much.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Coraline. Oh, Coraline.
Dark, creepy.
Delightful.
Utterly delightful. Yeah. I remember reading that as an adult.
Yeah.
And still getting chills.
It's like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
With a dash of Tim Burton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then there's the Graveyard Book.
The Graveyard Book is just beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
A boy raised by ghosts in a graveyard.
I know, what a concept.
Come on.
Yeah. And it earned him both the Newbery and the Carnegie medals.
I know.
He was the first author to win both awards for the same book.
That's incredible.
It is.
And both Coraline and the Graveyard Book were adapted into really well-received films.
They were, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, shows how his stories really resonate with audiences of all ages.
Okay, and we can't forget the ocean at the end of the lane.
Oh, the ocean at the end of the lane.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful book.
Yeah, that coming-of-age story.
Yes.
With this, like, dark, unsettling beauty.
Yeah. It won the British National Book Award for Book of the Year.
Wow.
And was also adapted into a stage play.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Critically acclaimed.
It's amazing.
I love how his work transcends mediums.
It does, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just bound to the page.
And then there's his retelling of Norse myths.
Oh, yes. In Norse mythology.
Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating how he takes these ancient stories.
Yeah.
And breathes new life into them.
Brett, and makes them accessible and relevant.
Yes.
To a modern audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we should keep in mind.
Okay.
As we move into a more difficult aspect of Gaiman's story.
Are you talking about the allegations of sexual assault made against him in 2024?
Yes. It's important to address this.
Yeah.
But to do so with sensitivity.
Of course.
And impartiality. So we know that multiple women came forward.
Right.
And some of their stories were detailed in the New York Times.
Yes.
In a Tortoise Media podcast called Master, the Allegations Against Neil Gaiman.
Right. And the allegations
range from unwanted advances to more serious accusations of assault.
Yeah. And Gaiman, for his part, has denied engaging in any non-consensual acts. Right. And it's important to remember that no charges have been filed.
Exactly.
So these are allegations, not proven facts.
Right.
However, the impact on his career has been undeniable.
Yeah.
Disney put the film adaptation of the Graveyard Book on hold.
Right.
And he left the Good Omens series.
Yeah, it's really
a difficult situation.
It is, and it highlights these complex conversations that we're having as a society.
Yes, about accountability and power dynamics.
Absolutely. These conversations are crucial.
They are.
And it's important
to approach them with nuance and respect.
We need to listen to all sides.
Yes.
Weigh the evidence carefully.
Absolutely.
And avoid rushing to judgment.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that separating the art from the artist can be a deeply personal and challenging process. Each individual has to grapple with those questions and come to their own conclusions based on the information available and their own values.
It's a reminder, too, that even our heroes are human, capable of both great good and potentially great harm.
That's a really important point.
And we need to hold everyone accountable, regardless of their achievements or status.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this leads us to
the next part of our discussion.
Yes. Which is Gaiman's personal life.
Yeah, his relationships and how he connects with his fans.
So we've covered his career and his work and some of the controversies. But I want to shift gears a bit and talk about his personal life.
Okay.
One thing that struck me is how accessible he is online.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially through his blog. You know, he shares so much of his life with his readers.
He does.
His thoughts on writing, glimpses into his daily routine.
He
even answers fan questions.
Yeah, it's really remarkable.
Right.
It creates this sense of genuine connection with his audience.
And you know, he's very open about his personal relationships too.
He is, which have attracted a lot of attention.
They have, haven't they?
I mean, his marriages first to Mary McGrath and then to Amanda Palmer.
Right.
Very public.
Very public. You know, and especially his open marriage.
Open marriage to Palmer.
Right. They even had a flash mob wedding in New Orleans.
Oh.
So
that's pretty unconventional.
Yeah. But, you know, it speaks to their unconventional approach to relationships.
Right.
And while they did ultimately divorce in 2022, it's important to remember that even the most public figures face personal challenges.
Absolutely.
And he's spoken openly about fatherhood as well.
Yeah.
He has 4 children from his 2 marriages.
Right.
And, you know, balancing a demanding career with family life.
It's not easy.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah. Also, it's a reminder that behind the fame, the accolades, there's a real person navigating the complexities of life.
Exactly.
Just like everyone else.
And let's not forget his friendship with Terry Pratchett.
Oh, such a special bond.
Right.
Yeah.
They had this
built on
mutual respect,
shared humor, a deep understanding of each other's creative minds.
And Gaiman even delivered a beautiful eulogy.
He did.
At Pratchett's funeral.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of human connection.
Human connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer volume of awards that Gaiman has racked up over his career.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I mean, Hugo's Nebulous, Bram Stoker Awards, Newbery and Carnegie Medals.
Wow.
An Eisner Award Hall of Fame induction.
That's incredible.
It's mind-boggling.
It's a reflection of the impact he's had.
Yeah.
Across so many different forms.
Yeah.
Of storytelling.
He really has the Midas touch when it comes to storytelling.
Everything he creates seems to resonate with audiences and critics alike.
Okay.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Neil Gaiman, by acknowledging the complexities and grappling with the difficult questions, we can hopefully develop a more nuanced understanding of both the creators and their creations.
That's a great point to end on.
It is.
You know, we've explored Gaiman's incredible career,
his unique style,
his impact on the literary world,
and the complexities of his personal life.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
We do.
Into the fascinating and often challenging world of Neil Gaiman.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for a starting point,
yeah,
I highly recommend The Graveyard Book.
A good choice.
It's a captivating story.
It is.
That will appeal to readers of all ages.
Of all ages.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning,
yes,
and keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.
Into the stories that spark your imagination.
Absolutely.